Okay, Dr. Mindy here, and today I want to talk about your microbiome and how important your microbiome is in weight loss. I actually think this topic is the one nobody ever thinks about. We have gotten definitely to this point in our culture where we're very focused on fasting and keto for weight loss. And what I'm finding is that a lot of people are forgetting the importance of the microbiome. So with that in mind, I am going to include two studies. I'm going to tell you the highlights of these studies now, and I'm going to give you 5 steps that you can do to start to speed up weight loss. So you guys who've been following me for a while, you know that I love to give you the science, explain why it's going to work, and then give you the steps so that you can start to implement this stuff as quickly as after this video. So let's start with the science. Okay, the first study that I found, the title of the study is called Influence of the Microbiome on Metabolism, Diet, and Your Overall Moods and Behaviors. Okay, so first thing that I want to talk about in the study, and I pulled out some key quotes. One of the quotes says that there is growing evidence that suggests your gut microbiome influences what you are able to extract from your diet, both nutritionally and energetically. Okay, so I just want to start off with that one key concept here for a moment. What that statement is saying is that it doesn't matter as much what you eat. It matters what the microbes are inside your gut that are going to take that food and turn it into neurotransmitters, to hormones, to B vitamins, to what they're going to do to speed up your metabolism. So it isn't the quality of the food that is going to affect your health as much as the microbes that are in the gut and what they do with that food that you feed them. So stop and think about that for a moment. If you are eating foods that are killing those microbes, and all of a sudden one day you decide, oh, I'm going to eat healthy again, you're dealing with a microbiome inside your gut that is completely decimated of healthy microbes. And so you're going to have to keep changing your diet for a pretty significant period of time to be able to grow those microbes back. So, and I'll explain what you can do at the end of this video to actually grow those microbes back. So quality of food, yes, it's important. We love the keto diet, but more important, according to this one study, is the microbes that are inside your gut. Now, let's go to the second phase of this article. It talks about that researchers have found that people who have a greater amount of Firmicutes bacteria compared to Bacteroides, that obesity correlated with an increase of Firmicutes and a decrease in Bacteroides microbes, okay? And they actually went on to say that if you had 60% Firmicutes, I like to call it Firmicutes, just sounds a little more fun, then Bacteroides 40%, that ratio is what will set you up for weight gain. So think about that for a moment. You're trying to change your diet, and you're not getting the result that you want with weight loss. What if we start changing your microbiome? What if we worked on changing your balance of Firmicutes to Bacteroides? And we'll talk about this again at the end. But I want you to have that mind shift that we have gotten so stuck in thinking that it's the quality of food, when really it's the quality of the microbes that are going to determine your weight loss effectiveness, okay? So second thing that I found was an article that showed that it is the diversity. So that one showed us that it was the ratio of Firmicutes, or Firmicutes as I call it, to Bacteroides. This article showed that it's actually your microbe diversity that will affect if you are obese or not. The actual quote was, the microbial diversity of obese patients is lower than the microbiome diversity of healthy individuals. Okay, well, this one is actually pretty easy. This is really about expanding the amount or the diversity of foods that you are bringing into your diet and into your gut. Let's use a salad as an example. We know that fiber, and especially raw greens, I love to emphasize how much we need to be eating raw greens. So we know that raw greens are going to feed these good bacteria, and then those good bacteria in turn are going to come over here, help to pull the nutrients and get the energy out of your food, and are going to speed up your metabolism. But you have almost 6,000 different types of microbes in your gut. So what happens if you are eating the same greens over and over and over again? What you do is you are only narrowly feeding one set of microbes, and you are starving out the other ones. So there are a couple things I recommend you do. One, if you haven't done a gut zoomer test, do a flip and gut zoomer test. It is a stool test. It will tell you what your firmicutes to bacteroides balance is, and it will tell you what your diversity is. Do you have enough diversity? It'll even go on as far as to tell you if you have the specific bacteria that will control metabolism. So it is my absolute favorite test. It's called a gut zoomer. Just put gut zoomer in the comments, and we'll send you a link on where you can order one and do one on yourself. So the first step is know what's going on in the gut. But then the second step is, if we know we need to expand the diversity of our microbiome in order for our microbiome to do what it needs to do with the food we're eating, then we actually need to expand the diversity of the foods we're eating. So if I'm eating romaine lettuce over and over and over and over again, thinking that I'm feeding my microbiome, I'm only feeding a small group of bacteria. Whereas if when I make a salad, I think I've mentioned this before, I put chard and parsley and romaine and kale and collard greens, and I cut all that up, put some seeds and nuts and hemp seeds and flax seeds, pour all that into a salad, because I know that greens is there to feed. It's like fuel for these bacteria in my gut that are going to give me neurotransmitters and speed up my metabolism and keep my immune system strong. So diversity is key. And why I picked these two studies is because so many of you are banging your head against the wall trying to get a result with weight loss, and you're doing it through keto and fasting, which is great, but you need to add in this diversity of greens. You need to add in this look and this focus on your microbiome. When you add that in and you mix it with keto and fasting, you'll lose weight. It'll be amazing, I promise you. So we know now that your microbiome controls metabolism. We know now that your microbiome controls what you get out of this food that you're eating. So what do you do now? You're sitting here at this spot. You want to lose weight. You heard what I just said. What can you do? Okay, so there are 5 steps that I created for you. And this is, I think in terms of checklists. So the first step, start with keto. Okay, so now start with the 3 styles of keto. So go to those 3 styles and make sure you are eating those 3 styles. Okay, second thing, make sure that you're fasting. So for microbiome repair, for gut repair, those of you who have followed me for a while, hopefully you know that I'm a big fan of the 24-hour fast. I feel like the 24-hour fast for gut repair and weight loss is magic, because when you go 24 hours, you reboot your intestinal stem cells, so you create a better environment for these good bacteria to grow. So you create a better environment. Plus, you're going long enough that your body's going to start to burn some of the insulin and glucose that you stored years ago. So add in a 24-hour fast once a week, twice a week. You can do it more than that. If you're on a fasting groove, add in more than that. Okay, I got to interrupt this video because I have a free guide for you so you can master fasting. It's called A Beginner's Guide to a Fasting Lifestyle. And all you've got to do is click here and you can jump right in. Okay. Here's where the microbiome comes in now. Third step, so you're doing the 3 variations of keto I talked about. You are adding in more 24-hour fasts. Now I want you to open up your plant diversity. I want you to be looking at all the different vegetables that you can feed, all the different seeds, all the different nuts. I want you to dive into diversity. Start counting how many different vegetables, nuts, and seeds you're getting in a week. I recommend, we call it the plant diversity score. I recommend that at a minimum, you're getting 50 different types of plants every week into your diet. If you're not doing that, then you are not feeding your microbiome well enough, and therefore it may not be speeding your metabolism up the way that you would like it, okay? 4th step, on a regular basis, and you could even do this at every single meal, I want you to look at your plate and say, do I have a probiotic food? Do I have a prebiotic food? And do I have a polyphenol food in this meal? So probiotic foods are things like sauerkraut, kimchi. We've talked about a lot about that, the raw kefirs. Prebiotics. Here's something really interesting about prebiotic fibers. There's actually some research showing that it will reduce your appetite and can improve your insulin sensitivity. My favorite prebiotic food is hemp seeds. Pour hemp seeds onto everything. Hemp seeds, flax seeds, chia seeds, asparagus, leeks, onions. A lot of those fibery foods will feed. A prebiotic food is it's feeding those bacteria that you want working for you. Okay, polyphenol foods. These are your olives, your almonds, your walnuts, even your red wine. Again, this is why we're a fan of dry farm wines, because it is an organic wine that can actually help your microbiome. If you're not familiar with dry farm wines, put dry farm wines in the comments and we'll send you links to them. But they're the only wine I know that will actually support a healthy microbiome. All other wine is going to destroy it. Chocolate. Some dark chocolate, but organic, not with like stevia or erythritol is good, or maybe a little bit of coconut sugar, but dark chocolate can feed your microbiome. Olives are amazing. I mentioned that before. Okay, so step 4 is you're going to start to look at every single meal. What on my plate is feeding my microbiome? Do I have a probiotic food? Do I have a prebiotic food? Do I have a polyphenol food? And then the 5th step is you're going to create a variation plan. So, and I put these in steps. So I want you to start with the first one and checklist. So you don't want to create a variation plan if you're not doing different styles of keto, if you're not doing fasting, if you're not working on plant diversity. It doesn't make sense to do some of the variations I've taught here, like the 5-1-1 and the 3-3-1 and the 4-2-1. I got a whole bunch of different variations. So it doesn't make sense to do those if you haven't done those first 4 steps, okay? So again, I bring this to your attention because you can lose weight. Your body was designed to let go of the excess. So, but we've got to understand why that excess is there. I've talked on other videos about how sometimes the excess is there because it's where your body's storing glucose. It's where it's storing toxins. Well, the excess is also there because your microbiome from antibiotics, from birth control, from antibiotic-rich meats, from even the hand sanitizers, all the things we've done to decimate the good bacteria, you've done it over and over and over again, and you no longer have these good bacteria working for you. So we've got to get them in, we've got to feed them, we've got to regrow them. So on the next video, it's called Do This Before You Sleep to Avoid Belly Fat. And there's habits you want to do the night before, and there's habits you want to do in the morning, and all of those make a big difference. Make sure your room is cool. If our mattress is cool, if the room is cool, it activates the parasympathetic nervous system. This is a little bit like cold plunges.